God. Well, hi. Welcome back. Again, if you're here to listen to me drone on about stuff that half the planet doesn't really care about, welcome back. As you guys probably noticed, there's been a week of a delay from when when the podcast was supposed to post, and I do apologize for that. I was actually planning on posting, I don't know if anyone is remotely interested in this either, but a gaming channel video. I wanted to film it. And so by the time that this had been posted, it would be out and you guys could watch that beforehand. But that didn't end up happening. I made some of my old vlogs public that were private. Ugh. They're not the best content. They're just some old videos if you want to watch. You don't have to. What the fuck is that? Oh my god. So, yeah, I'm basically just wanted to start a gaming channel. I think the first game I'm doing is Bully. It's a really old game, really old. I played it when I was a kid. I don't think I played it. Yeah, I think I played it or I watched someone play it. It's been played somehow. And it's an okay game. I wanted something that I've played before, but I don't have the best memory of to start out playing for. Ugh. By the time this is out, it may or may not be out. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'll link it down in the description box below if you want to go check it out. So, oh my god, what is going on in the world? I don't really cover news topics. I shouldn't I? I should really start covering, I'm not a news channel. I literally just wanted to talk about stuff that I wanted to talk about, which I thought would be very long, because sometimes I literally just rant out on people for increasingly amount of very long time. Almost you can see in their face that it's yeah, you need to stop talking. So I thought the podcast would be so easy. I'm having a little bit of trouble, but I'm gonna still try drumming out. Maybe I want to try, if I say by the end of the year, I feel like it's too I'll say I'll try to keep going until the end of the year. And whatever I feel then, if I'm literally I fucking hate this, there's no point, I'll stop. If not, then you're stuck with me. Not really. The first thing I wanted to talk about, I think almost everyone has felt this or seen it or actually been a part of it, which is the divide between men and women. And when I say this, I mean there's literally a divide between men and women. Even if you go to people of color and people not of color, I don't know what to say, just people in general, when we're talking about the sexes, and I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just trying to say that there's a divide between men and women, and I feel a part of that originates from, I know I keep talking about hormones, but men and women are just completely different. They're wired completely different. That's just how it is. Society makes them different, and they're born different. Not just born. I'm trying to stay away from hormones, but I'm just saying they have a different complete experience. They have a complete different experience than a typical female, or a typical male would have a different experience than a typical female. And I feel a lot of that is could be hormones, could be experiences or trauma. Just I feel men and women take life at different points. And I feel that's what that's the originator of the cause of the problem, Because what happens is like small interactions, or what people think are small interactions, literally are bigger to other people. Like a guy does something and a woman is traumatized by it, or it's her last straw and she's fed up from it. And so basically her reaction is a lot different than what you would think a male's reaction would be. I feel like when that happens, there's like an instinctual desire for people to reverse the treatment. Like, she's calling me a creep. You know what I mean? Oh, sometimes it's justified. I feel like I'm not a man. But I feel like most of the times it's a misunderstanding of the girl is completely just uncomfortable with the experience. And I feel like the guy is not really understanding, or it's either like a lack of, they don't know or they don't care. Like, I hope it's they don't know. But it could be that they don't care. I don't know. I feel like things happen that make people uncomfortable. And when that happens and it's like a boundary that people are supposed to be aware of, I feel like the instinctual thing is to call a dude a creep. Is to say, like, oh my god, he's creeping me out. Obviously he's making you uncomfortable. But especially when, like, it's something that's so, like, like, you don't have a right to a woman's body. Like, if a dude just went up and grabbed her ass, I feel like that's, like, a instinctual response. Like, you're not gonna get someone being like, oh, this makes me uncomfortable, I'm sorry. You're gonna get the fuck off of me. Like, you're not gonna get that nice experience of, like, I'm just really uncomfortable, I'm not into this, I'm sorry. That's not gonna happen. I feel like a lot of men are tired of being called creeps. Oh, God, they're tired of that treatment, and they want to reverse that treatment so you can understand the treatment of how that feels. I don't know. Like, to put this in extreme measures, like, I don't know. Like, I don't think it should be done, honestly. I think that's a thing that you should just let hit you and roll with it. Especially when you realize when it stems from. I'm sure there is, like, a small percentage of girls that are literally just like, as if, don't even touch me. And they're just, I don't know. I feel like that's, like, a lot of perception on what people think females will act like and how they treat men. And I'm sure some do, but I feel like when it gets to that point, I've always said, like, it's like a spectrum. So you're either on the side where you literally want to be objectified, you want to be hit on, you want to be basically lifted up because your self-worth is so low, usually caused by, like, an external force or whatever. And then on the other side of that spectrum, you literally, someone touching you, someone looking at you, someone even making a move on you is like the last final straw. You can't take it. The world's gonna fucking explode because you've put up with so much mistreatment from other people throughout your life. And it's so hard because, like, if a girl is insecure, if someone, a person, is insecure and has low self-worth, they want to be lifted up. They want you to flirt with them. I'm not telling people to go out and grope people or make people uncomfortable, but there's a portion of the population that actually needs to be gassed up, how I like to say, that needs that. I mean, I've needed it a lot, a portion of my life, in certain areas specifically. I think we've all have. Ugh. What the fuck? Why do I keep making these noises? I'm so sorry. But then it's hard to distinguish because you're just like, you don't want to make someone uncomfortable. You don't want someone who is fed up or is too traumatized. You don't want to push them over the edge. And then you don't want someone to think that you're ignoring them or you don't think they exist or basically side whatever fucked up thing they're thinking in their head. That's probably not true. And I think navigating that and finding how to approach people is the difficult thing that I don't think women honestly give men the props for. Like, it's 10 times more, it's a million times easier to approach a man as a female. Like, it's so much easier. And I think it's just not set up that most of the time, if a dude's gonna be like grossed, yeah, it's usually gonna be like the experience that I just said about female. It's probably gonna be someone that's like a douchebag, that's like, oh my god, I think she's ugly, or I think she's overweight, or I think she doesn't have an ass, or look at her hairline, or oh my god, she's from a trailer park. Like, I feel like that's the stuff that women usually hear from men. Again, this is all in my experience. Don't, you can quote me on it. Don't think it's like a scientific study. Is what my point is. Oh my god, I need to stop. Jesus. I think I'm doing it when I'm uncomfortable. That's what's happening. But basically, all I'm saying, I think it's just a very difficult thing to navigate for men. And because it's so difficult in all those things that they're trying to do and not do, they get labeled creepy or perverts, or like a lot of things that I feel like women don't. And I feel like they have like this internal desire to like reverse that treatment. I've said this before literally 2 seconds ago. But I think that's what's happening. And I don't know if that's something that we should address, if that's something that we should discuss, or is like the cause, or is this like the effect of something that's a lot bigger, so we shouldn't discuss it, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? So if this is a girl behaving like this is the effect of something that's a lot more bigger, does us talking about this invalidate that experience? If you know what I mean. It's a hard thing for, it's sad that we're so divided that like when men see each other, they're gonna stick up for each other. But when they see a woman, 10 times out of 10, they're gonna like probably wanna like bang her. I don't know how men minds work. But I don't think they're gonna actually want to like stick up for them like they would. They're like, you know, they would call like a boys club or whatever. I don't think that happens for females and males. That usually does not happen. They do. It's like oil and water. Do not mix well. And so I think it's just caused a huge divide, is my point. Of course, with also toxic masculinity, I talk about that so much because I feel like it's a cause of so many of our issues. Yeah. I feel like it's all peer pressure, basically. And I feel like most women are not going to tolerate that. And I feel like men are shamed if they don't tolerate that. And even more, they're shamed if they don't try to duplicate the same behavior that everyone is done with. Like, I feel like a lot of people that are doing this behavior or these things that most people would find appalling, they don't want to do it really either. Like, it's not something particularly, not that I'm making it okay, but the people that are doing it, a large percentage of them don't want to be doing it. Like, it's, oh, I don't want to look like a punk type of shit. And I can understand it. It's a lot of pressure and it's a lot of expectations. I don't know if there's a solution. I don't have answers to everything. But I think it's an issue that we have to discuss in society. Conversation I would definitely like to get started because I feel like it's causing so much issues. So instead of just trying to attack the thing, we could try to go to the root cause and be like, okay, these men are tired of having to basically go through all these like complicated procedures to figure out something that they necessarily wouldn't have to do with men. But I feel like at the same time, men have to put up with behaviors that women have the privilege of saying no to, or women have the ability to say, walk away from, or to retaliate. And I feel like a lot of men are put in positions where they actually can't say anything, or can't be in that position to do the same thing that a woman would do. And it's upsetting because I don't know. It's really upsetting. I don't think anyone should have to put up with any amount of bad behavior. I don't think anyone deserves that, honestly. I don't know. I don't know how we fix this, because I feel like it's causing a lot of issues, and us not discussing it is causing more issues. So maybe we should discuss it. I don't know. Oh my god. So this was my most popular episode, so I thought I would revisit it, because why not? To give them what they want. And I guess I just wanted to talk about, how do I approach this? Oh wow, that was a nice angle. I just want to talk about how people view sex in society. Even how I'm like trying to like hesitate to say the word sex. Like that's one of the things that I'm discussing. Like, I feel like a lot of men, if they were in the same position that I am currently in right now, they would not be as uncomfortable as I am discussing this. But right now I'm very, very uncomfortable. But I'm going to do this anyways because I feel like it needs to be talked about. Not that I'm like fucking knowledgeable on this, but I feel like any topic on sex, especially when you're dealing with men and women, discussing it to men, bringing up the conversation to a man, and having an open, vulnerable conversation about just sex and expectations and desires and how you want it, when you want it, the way you want it. It's very difficult conversation to have because I feel like at text they're made up by society but still felt masculinity. It makes them feel like they're not a man because you're literally telling them how to please said women. And I don't think it should exist. I feel like no one needs to be having, well, I don't know. Some people, I feel like you don't need to be reading a book on how to please your man. Like, I don't think that needs to happen. If we just created an environment, if people were comfortable enough in a relationship to have an open conversation, discourse, you might say, about sex and about your sexual relationship, I feel like it would fix a lot of issues. Because I don't know about you, but most men, when approached by this, deflect and don't want to talk about it. And it's just not just men, as I was discussing with women. A lot of women are so shamed in society to not even ever discuss a sexual desire ever. Like, it's not gonna happen. I know a lot of women don't even masturbate because it's not something that a woman should be doing. Literally, there's so many women that have never had an orgasm ever. Not just saying with another person, by themselves, because society has made them feel like they should not be doing that. There's also religion and there's other external forces that could be a reason why it's not happening. But women should not feel ashamed to express their sexuality. They should not be ashamed to be a sexual being. It's like, I don't know. we've gone such an age from a time where literally they would say women were hysteria had hysteria because they hadn't had an orgasm. The doctors, sorry, I'm so loud. The doctors, like the physicians, would like masturbate, like basically like jerk off the women so that they would stop being like hysterical. Because no, there was not being it was not happening, basically. Somehow it was okay to do this. I don't know I don't know how that went down, but soon stopped. They no longer do this. But it's still something that's ingrained in our society that women don't know how to express themselves or express their sexualities. So at the end of the day, you have two people having to have a difficult conversation. And if you don't, it's crucial. And it's really hard. I feel like we should make it more, even if it's still going to be uncomfortable for us, I feel like we should make it more comfortable for the next generation. I mean, like I just said, we literally came from a time where doctors would have to like masturbate women, to a time where literally we have freaking OnlyFans models from people who are teachers. Like, there's so, when you say stuff like that, I wish I regretted instantly saying that, because I was literally just gonna be like, every time someone says something like that, like, oh my god, it's solved, there's no more issues. Like when we had our first black president, they're literally like, oh my god, racism is solved. There is no more racism, no more. Obviously that's not true. But whenever something like that dramatic, and we can compare it to the past, because we can see how far we've come, people always want to like dismiss any further struggles, because they're like, this is no longer a thing, but it is a thing. It is something that we have to worry about. I gotta stop talking about this. But there's so many things that are different that need to be discussed, like, because it's not discussed, the way that men and women have sex are so different. Like, I feel like everyone, this is so uncomfortable to say, but like, there's like ways that should be not taught, but should be like, oh no, duh, of like foreplay, you know, of like, we're not just gonna go and stick something somewhere immediately. Come on, please. Not, you know, work up to it. Some kissing, slow touching. I'm trying not to talk about this too much because I'm uncomfortable. Obviously, you can discuss this, but I feel like a lot of men want to go from like 0 to 100. And I think they don't really understand that women's bodies don't really, that like cis women's bodies don't operate like that. And so I literally think that it's just, so many young girls have had such shitty, and probably men too, had such shitty sexual experiences, and it's literally set their view on sex, on how they view sex. Like, I know I know this is what serial killers say, but I'm pretty sure like porn warps your mind. Like watching if like a kid is watching a violent porn as a child and that's how he views sex, because he's seen like, I don't even want to say this, like an extreme sexual situation on screen, and now he thinks he's supposed to replicate this on a woman, which should not be happening. I feel like like the scene they covered in Euphoria, it's just, it's hard to know what a woman wants, because you can't, a lot of women will make fun of men who literally be like, okay, what do you want? You know, if it's a guy, he's like, oh, I don't know what to do. What do you want me to do? He's probably going to get made fun of by a girl. And if a guy just tries to make an assumption on a guess on what he thinks this person is going to like, then they could be right, but they could end up making someone increasingly uncomfortable. And I just feel like if we discussed this more openly, not like we're like targeting children, but just had maybe like a sex ed class again and actually discussing actual sex, not just like put a condom on a banana. Like these are experiences that people actually encounter and questions that they actually need to be answered in a way that's not traumatizing. If you know, I don't think it's something that they want to think about constantly. I don't know. That would be really embarrassing if I was in a health class at school and they were literally just, okay, so this is how females' pleasure works. I guess you could do it like very scientifically, like break down the words so it's not sexual in any manner. But it's something that needs to be discussed. It's like, how do we pass on this information to the people that actually need it in a way that they're actually going to intake the information? How's that gonna get done? It needs to get done. How? I'm not really sure. I don't get paid the big bucks on this. I don't know. I think it's something that, oh god, I look bad. It's something that we need to talk more, and everyone needs to be okay with being discussed. Obviously not like someone trying to like get in your pants, but like literally just discussing healthy sex and what that's supposed to be like, that and what healthy open communication with sex is supposed to be like. I feel like it would solve a lot of problems. Speaking of solving a lot of problems, I wanted to talk about, it's just such a hard thing to say, because whenever someone brings this up, just like I was saying before, their solution to it being brought up is like, okay, we're not gonna help anyone. No, you don't want to be helped then. No help. I'm like, no, but this is an actual issue, and the issue I'm discussing is. And the issue I'm discussing, sorry for the cutout. I just literally just pretend like there's not a random cut in here. My camera's weird, I'm sorry. Is a white savior. And I feel like we've all heard this term before, and I feel like people are not really sure what the definition is, and that's why it causes so much anguish and people going like, well, then I'm not gonna help you with anything then. Tough luck, donut. You're not getting help from me. I don't think that's a problem on why I don't like discussing it. But I feel like it's something that happens where it's basically how my definition, let's go with that, and how I define it is like a two-prong thing. The universal sentence that I will say is usually that this person is trying to help out people not because they care about these people being helped, but because they wanted to be the person to help. If that makes any sense. They don't actually care about the well-being of these people. They just want the recognition for it, the pat on the back, the trophy, the wah 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 wah. You know, they want something for it. They don't want to actually do it because they care or they think that these people need to be helped. They're doing it for something. And it's also, this isn't a white savior. I think this is just like a reason why like I have such a trouble receiving help. Cuz like it's always like the fear or the anticipation of, okay, well, it's no duh. If someone was like handed a fucking Lexus, that's going to be awesome. No, but getting a Lexus and then someone dangling that in front of your face and someone literally being like, well, you got to do this, or basically holding you, guilting you, making you feel bad, making you feel like you have to do XYZ. That is my fear on why I don't like receiving help from people. And it's a little bit different than being a white savior, but it's a little bit similar. And it's literally my number one fear. Like, no one's going to be afraid of getting the Lexus. They're afraid of what's going to come after it, what you're going to say, what you think that this person owes you over something that was completely transactional, something that was, or even gifted, or in this purpose, a necessity. Like literally sending over water to people who don't have water, or housing who are people who are not housed, or food to people who are starving. This is not something that you should be like, okay, now who's gonna freaking suck my wang now? Like, no. The basic decency shouldn't be something that people be like, okay, let's hold the applause. It should be something that everyone is freely gifted. When we talk about equality, it's not like we're trying to make people, that's what people always see as, it's like a threat, something trying to be taken away from you, or even worse, these people are trying to they're trying to become bigger than you, they're trying to become more powerful than you, is what people feel it like. But actually what's happening is the power dynamic was so unfair in the first place. Even just trying to make it even feels like that to people, because there's this huge surge of support that they feel like they don't have, but they've been getting this whole time. And it also creates a divide on so many people, when we shouldn't really be fighting over this. Like, when you think about it, it's ridiculous. You treat someone like shit because we sent them money so that they could drink free water, and now they're more important than you, and no one cares about you, and they're all people are talking about. I hate that so much, and it really does get to me. It really does. I don't know what to say. Every time I talk about it, I'm just repeating the same thing, but every time it's discussed, people think it's like, okay, then I'm not going to help then. You must not want help, is the response. And it's just like, no, but you shouldn't try to assert your power over people that are vulnerable. I'm sorry, if like literally you had a tenant who housed a bunch of people in an apartment, and then he literally is like, okay, I'm going to go to their house and collect what I want to get from them because I've been giving them housing. Like, that would be completely abuse of power. Anyone would say that. But somehow it's not thought of like that. I hate it so much. I do. Most the people in the situations that we're discussing are vulnerable people, or the people that we should be helping. But okay, I can't go on like this for long. I'm gonna get pissed. I wanted to talk about the many get a little personal. Talk about the many surgeries that I've had in my life. In the experience, it was a bit. So I don't even know the name of this, but it was a birth defect. They thought it was club foot when I was really little, and it was basically two bones in my foot are like fused together. And so they put me in cast for like years on years to basically like try to correct the placement of my feet. They had me in braces and physical therapy, until finally I did my first surgery. I'm not really sure what they did because I was so young. But it was a really small surgery. I think they tried to unfuse the bones. And it failed completely miserably. Not like that's on them. Actually, I was a huge fan of my doctor, my surgeon, because he had MS. And it obviously wasn't like mine, but it was like a disability, and so I felt really connected to him when I was a kid. I really loved it. I feel like a lot of people would have been freaked out, being like, "Oh my god, you're operating on me." But when I literally I loved it. I thought it was so cool. It was like when you're a child, you're like, "Well, if this guy can do it, then I can do it." Obviously, it's a different experience. Like he had already went to medical school and was becoming a surgeon, and then he got diagnosed with it. I can't imagine what that would be like, but he was one of my favorite doctors. Um, and how we got to all these appointments, because we lived in Maine, was through, well, either we took the bus to Boston, or we were part of this program called Angel Flight. They actually did like a news article on me. You can look it up if you want. It was actually on the pilot that flew us, because how their program works, I believe, they're usually like doctors and stuff who own private planes, and then they volunteer their own plane and time to basically fly people to resources they can't get to. So because I needed to go to the surgery, they didn't have any facility or any doctors like that in any place close nearby. So they were the only way that we could get from where we were to where the surgery was. And we had to go through them multiple times. They were actually really wonderful. They were really nice. I got to fly like a private plane, which sounds like so rich. Like it's not like, it wasn't like one of those, like it's like the really really small ones where it's like literally like for like 2 or 3 people. So it's still a little like cheap, not cheap. It didn't feel like too much like, "Oh my god, I'm in a limousine." It felt really cool. Like there's this moment my mom loves bringing up where he let me sit in the front when I was a kid, and he like told me to like fake use like the steering wheel. And somehow I ended up grabbing it while it was still running, and he like freaked out cuz I literally was like controlling the plane. My mom laughed. Of course, she thought it was freaking hilarious because he didn't think that I would actually do that, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I knew that she would do that." I think it's ridiculous because who the frick is putting like an 8-year-old or however old I was in the front of a plane? Should not happen. Should not happen. But my first, yeah, the first surgery, we used to stay at the Shriner House, which I believe is run by McDonald's. I don't know if it's still up and running, but I'm pretty sure it's run by McDonald's. And it was I want to say nice. It was a good experience because of who I was at the time. But they basically, the second surgery I do know the extent of, because the doctor joked with me when I was a kid. And he's like, "Yeah, I got this from like Ace Hardware. It's actually just nuts and bolts." It wasn't, obviously. But they basically put like 2 or 3 screws in my foot, which are still in my foot to this day. And all of this is to help like pain and help me walk better. I still have the scars to this day, and honestly, the pain is still persistent. It's, in my opinion, because I've overcompensated on it for so long. Other parts of my bodies have started to hurt, but it's kind of difficult because I just can't be on my foot for long. I have a lot of pain relievers that I use, and I've kind of been nursing for too long. But as soon as I get off them, like I can't walk. I remember the first time I tried, I walked like so many trails. I would just walk so many trails for fun because it didn't hurt and I was bored. And I don't know. It's I don't want to go back to a time where it's hurting for me just to walk or stand or not to walk. Like I'm supposed to go in again. I can't go into Shriners because it's for children. But I'm supposed to go in again just to have them look at my foot and to be like, why you're still in pain, if there's anything they can do to help. I hope they can help. But that's just my surgery experience. It's really boring, huh? I don't have any much extensive like life or death surgeries. I guess I apparently didn't wake up, but I don't remember it, so it's not really a struggle. Okay, so I don't know how to approach this because I hate when people say particularly lying or I don't know. And obviously some people are straight up lying, but when people are saying you're lying about your experience, I guess that's when I'm just like I don't know. What I wanted to talk about is people trying to, let's say, manipulate a situation to benefit a person or maybe like a flawed point they have. And they're doing this by showcasing the experience they have. If I'm explaining this horribly, basically when someone is trying to ask someone about their personal experience that they have not experienced because they have not experienced it, and they're not necessarily telling them the truth, but they're telling them what's going to benefit a particular person or a point that they're trying to prove. And when that happens, most people are aware of it, especially people who are also experienced in the same area. And another thing that happens, which is people don't believe you. Literally, people are not going to believe a single word you say. You could be like, this is my experience. This is what happened. This is what happens. And no one's going to believe a goddamn thing you say because so many people have manipulated the situation for XYZ. And I don't know how we get away from it because obviously it's like, you're stuck in I hate saying this. You're stuck in a situation of like, who do I believe? Is this person telling me the truth? If I take this person as face value, as you should take this person as face value, but they're manipulating me. So now I'm spreading some false information that's not even true. How am I supposed to know what's true and what's not true? Like, I feel like the only thing you can do is just check multiple sources. Yeah. Like, literally just, it's hard to say, like, okay, how do I make sure that this person, maybe just like, check multiple people and see like what's like the consensus. I know that's like a lot of work, but I hate just like assuming someone's lying. I hate that so much. Another thing that happens is when like someone's talking like about a topic in any area and they're actually not experienced in the topic, but they have heavily struggled in another area, they get listened to. So even not that that's always a bad thing. Can I talk ever? It's just that sometimes that spreads a lot of misinformation because the person is not actually experiencing what they're talking about. They have just struggled in other ways, which in my life, I've said experience way too much, that actually does help people a lot. But I feel like it could also spread misinformation where the spotlight is basically showcased on someone that doesn't necessarily know what they're talking about because they have been through something probably even more difficult. And it's hard to be like, okay, like, again, who do I trust to talk about? Because you're like, this person is very experienced in one area. It's literally like going to like a surgeon and then asking them to be a therapist. Like, I feel like, quote, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they all have to do like a rotation in school for therapy. So even if the surgeon wasn't like experienced in it, they're probably gonna know something. But it's the point of I don't know this, because it's not saying that they're like dumb. not that it's bad if someone is, I hate that word, but not saying that they're inexperienced or that they know nothing is what people think. They do know a lot. It's just that particular topic that they're talking about, they're not as informed in. Look at me. How many things do I talk about that I'm not informed in? I try. I hate bias. I like to say bias against the common good because that word really ticks me off sometimes. But there are people like that are literally biased. Like, I'm scared to go to therapy because I don't know if my therapist is going to have a bias against me in some particular way. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to trust what they're saying to me. I know that sounds crazy, but that's literally my fear. Because I don't know. It's scary to think, oh, this person has a hidden vendetta against you and you don't know. Like, there's no way you're gonna find out about that. Oh boy. It just sucks because it creates a lot of skepticism, and it creates an environment where no one's believing anyone, and then no one's changing their behavior because they're not experiencing it. So it's creating a very bad environment for everyone. I wish people would stop. I try not to. I've been definitely tempted, but I definitely try not to, because you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it usually for a whole community of people you're speaking, sadly, with, I'll say, instead of for. And so I think, I don't know, I think people just need to be more conscious, just listen to maybe more people. I don't know if that's going to spread even more misinformation, but I think that would help. I might just bring this to the main one that I've been burning to discuss because of how some people in our society have been talking. Oh my god, passive aggression. Oh my god. And that's basically like, what the frick makes a gosh damn American? Like, I am so tired of hearing this conversation. Excuse me, but what did you do to earn being an American? What did you do? Because I don't know if it's just me, but I was pushed out of a freaking vagina. Like, that's all you did. It don't make you special. It don't make you superior. It doesn't mean that. It literally means nothing. Nothing. Like, literally, other than the fact that shit, other countries are not cool with us. That's all it means. And literally, I'm so tired of, like, this thing being passed on of, like, these what makes you deserve to be here? What makes you deserve to be in this country? Like, it makes no sense to me, like, on how people are literally gonna be like, I'm so superior to someone that's trying to become an American. What? I'm sorry, what the frick did you do? What did you do? And now what's your reasoning on why you don't want people to come in? How about you stop people from birthing? That's not something you're gonna do? That's not something gonna do? Wait, what would happen if you passed a law forcing people to get rid of their children? That would be atrocious. That would be insane. Who would do that? I'm making the camera shake. That would be crazy. Like, literally, the entitlement of, oh, this person is less than me because I was privileged enough to be born in this country. I'm sorry, if you're gonna close the borders, why don't you close the goddamn uteruses? How many goddamn births have there been made? I can't speak English. God damn it. I hate people so much. I'm sorry. People piss me off. What? God. Why are we making it why are we making it so hard for people to come in and work a goddamn job? Why are we making it so hard? Why? What's the reasoning? Because most of the time, I can't. We just treat people like complete and utter, like just horribly. Like, actually horribly. Because someone literally handed you a title of being an American, and so now that makes you want to dictate on what other. I can't get over this. Like, it's my stopping point. Like, what? Okay. We're going there. It's freaking. I can't. I'm gonna go away from here before I get killed by a bunch of Republicans. I don't hate Republicans. I just hate that people don't care about people. Does that mean the same thing? I don't know. What? I'm done being political. If you give a shit about the world, then give a shit about you. That's all I gotta say. I'll end this. Another smooth takeaway. I don't like what I said last time. I wanted to talk about my school experience, but I feel like this is gonna die. My camera is weird. It only lets me record at like 30 minutes at a time. I'm gonna get a different one. But I wanted to talk about Kamara's school experience. Oh my lord. So I had a lot of difficulties with school. Like, back in Maine, where I went to school, my mom put me in this Head Start thing. It was like preschool. I think she just like wanted me out of the house. The school that I went through basically my whole youth. It was preschool all the way from 8th grade. And the way that the class worked, you had one teacher who taught you all of your classes the whole year. So it was literally you with one teacher and probably 9 to 10 other kids. And I had the same class from preschool all the way to 8th grade. Most, like, obviously some came, some left, but it was like a core group of the same people. So it was a very different school experience, let me say. Looking back, I'm so thankful that was my experience. We had another middle school in like the actual town over, and their middle school was like every other middle school, where it's basically like high school. And I think that would have definitely made me like flounder more. Like, I had issues, which sounds horrible. It's like, how could you have issues? That sounds perfect. I had issues at that school, which sucks. Like, the biggest issue, it was my favorite school. Like, literally, it's the only school that I have like really good memories of, and it literally, like, when you look back, you're like smiling. Like, I wish I had all my my yearbooks and shit like that. It's like literally probably the only reunion I would go to is like my the Woodland. Was it elementary or middle school? Those don't exist. But yes, my problem was they didn't have funding. Because it's such a small school. I don't know if they still do this, but apparently funding is dictated based on the neighborhood you're growing in it, I guess. So if you're in a very, what you would say, like middle class neighborhood, and my camera's about to die. Oh god, freaking damn it. If you're in a middle class neighborhood, I'll end this story in Maine. If you're in a middle class neighborhood, basically they give your school more money than if you're in a poorer neighborhood. I don't know if we were in a poor neighborhood, but they had like no funding for special education. The food was horrible because of our religion. I remember when I was the last Johnson kid at the school and I was a vegetarian, they literally like it translated to like slowly like, okay, we're going to give her PB&J. Okay, we're going to give her bread. No. Okay, I'm going to continue talking cuz I want to finish this story. But they're literally transitioned to like, okay, we're gonna give her bread and peanut butter, and then it's like, okay, we're just gonna give her a slice of bread, and literally there. I think it happened because I was the one kid to not throw a fit or not even say anything. There's other autistic kid who had a full time case manager with them 24/7 throughout the whole school time. I'm not gonna say her name because that's ridiculous. But there was an incident that really upset me, and I didn't say anything because I was also a kid. But she was literally really upset me is because she was trying to be like this mean girls environment. I don't know. It was very cliquey, but she was like I don't want to age someone, but she was like a 30-year-old woman doing a clique with a bunch of 12-year-olds. So it was really weird to me. And there's this point where she like it escalated where she was like she puts her hands over the kid's ears and like pretends like she's like squishing her head, and she's like, sometimes I just wanna, and she pretends to like squish her head. I remember seeing this as a kid and I was literally like, what the fuck is happening? I was so astounded. How is this happening? Who is allowing this? I was scared. I was literally scared because I didn't know what I wish I saw that now because I would say something to her and I would report that crap. Oh my god. She was she was so unaware too, and I felt like the lady should have been fired. Like completely fired. The whole time all she did was basically talk shit with a bunch of 12-year-olds. That's all she did all day. And normally I wouldn't, if she was like actually like helping the person in needing of help, I don't give the fuck what you're doing. But she wasn't helping her, and she was constantly berating her, in my point of view, abusing her. And when you're in that position of power and you're dealing with someone in that who's that vulnerable, it's kind of disgusting to me. Like that's not appropriate behavior. Not it's not even like a Karen. That's like I literally want to puke thinking about this. If I had a child and I trusted you with my child and this is how you treated my child, like I would be livid. Livid. Frick, I'm just trying to finish this story on how I ended it. It escalated to me not being able to go to school for a lot of different reasons. We would keep having ISP meetings. I don't know if anyone remembers those. Oh my god, the vein of my existence. Basically, like, how are we gonna get Kamara in school? What are we gonna do? We need to get her through the doors, guys. One of the things that they just ended up doing was they sat me with a math tutor at the public library, and she was basically teaching me all of my classes. Like I became like really close with her, and she to this day I know what a vinculum is. It's a line in between a fraction, guys. But it didn't really help me learn because she was a math teacher, so she didn't really know anything besides math, but she was really good at math. But she was supposed to teach me all these other classes that she knew nothing about, and they put her in a horrible position because she had to do it. But I still did. It was like the longest period that I was holding up in school. And all of this was during middle school. I feel like 6th grade. It was all during the point where it became social. Like when you're a child, like everyone is almost the same. Like, everyone's like a little bit they kind of look autistic. You know what I mean? Like, they don't act like that now. But when you go through that period of like, okay, we're social now, this is how we're supposed to act, this is how you're supposed to be, that's when it like everything started going down. I'll talk about that more because I've literally the camera's been dead for so long, and I think we're about to hit our time. So I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys soon. I'm not sure if I want to go to weekly still or go to every 2 weeks, but we'll see. I'm gonna stick to my promise, guys. I'm gonna keep doing this until the end of 2025. That's like 7 months. That's almost a pregnancy. But I'm gonna try to do that. Also, keep a lookout for a gaming channel that I'm going to be doing. I'm so excited for that. My partner is doing one too. If you want to come check that out as well. I'm excited. I'll link all of the information down on the YouTube channel. And if you don't know that this is on YouTube, you can look it up on YouTube. You can know that now. I'm sorry. It's so aggressive. But I'll leave all that down in the description if you guys want to go check it out. And thank you guys for watching. Bye.